suppose it's time for more lesbians. I'm going to do words.
Ugh, it's about time. I was getting bored.
I don't remember where I was going with that. Oh, look at that, I'm already 75% complete. Right, we've already seen the Timmy scenes. Tommy, his name's Tommy. Blah blah blah. Meeting Silver.
So you admit it then. You can.
I think it's just their second meeting with Silver. Yeah.
I see. But tell me, I could have left you chasing. Because I wanted to ask you something.
Find out what our
You managed to surprise me again. Ignore them, perhaps. But to abandon. As for forgetting, don't think yourself the same as me.
Yeah, our magic's different. Give me a second. There we go.
Good morning, Miho.
Morning.
I don't remember if this is a scene for. I'm trying to put together in my head what is and isn't unique to Juliet's route. There are the usual free places set. Only Juliet occupies the table. Take my seat as well.
No, Aspen? I guess I can call her if I need to.
She sent me a message to say that she'll be here, but that she's running late this morning.
Right on cue, the front door opens and Aspen hurls inside, clutching some papers as well as her bag to her chest.
Hello. Sorry I'm late.
It's no trouble.
We were just talking about you. You've got pretty good timing, huh?
Only sometimes. Speaking of which, I can't stay too long today, but there was something I wanted to talk to you both about in person.
Does she still get her book deal in this one?
What is it?
Let me catch my breath for a moment.
It's definitely unique to this one. Aspen collapses into her seat, leaving her bundle of stuff on her lap. There's already a mug of coffee prepared for her by Juliet, which Aspen gulps down in a matter of seconds. Both Juliet and I watch in awed silence as Aspen scarfs down her meal in an equally short amount of time. I haven't touched my food at all yet. I'm not sure how she's supposed to catch her breath like this.
Did you forget to eat yesterday or something?
Shaking her head, Aspen shoves another piece of bread into her mouth, chewing and swallowing quickly. Faintly, she puts down her utensils and sighs.
I'm in a bit of a hurry today.
I could tell.
Something tells me it's not on behalf of the Bell House.
No, not this time. The opposite, in a sense. I received this in the mail yesterday, after I got home from work.
She picks up the paper she brought over and sets it on the table for us to see. It's a small envelope with a smaller letter inside. Aspen slides the letter out and starts to read.
It says, "Dear Ms. Benoit, we appreciate your manuscript submission and commend you for your success in completing a novel. Unfortunately, we do not find that it fits the criteria we're currently searching for, and as such, must respectfully decline. Best wishes, Purple Penguin Publications."
It takes me a minute to actually comprehend what she's saying. With everything else that's been going on involving Aspen, I've forgotten all about her book.
Oh, Aspen. I'm so sorry to hear that.
And she looks like she does get rejected in this route.
No, it's all right. I wasn't expected to get accepted by everyone I sent it to. It's not the first notice I've received either. However, there are some revisions I'd already been thinking about making, and receiving this rejection notice inspired me to actually begin on them. I stayed up late last night making changes, which is why I was so late to arrive. If and when I do find someone that will take it, I'm sure they'll be glad to know I've already begun making improvements.
How many are you still waiting to hear back from?
I don't even remember, to be honest. I mailed it to at least a dozen publishing houses. Maybe even twice that.
Whoa, that's a lot. At least one of them has to say yes, right?
That's my hope as well. However, I'm going to need to spend a lot more time working on it than I have been. Now that there's a draft complete, I can see all the different areas I need to touch up. So I won't be able to come by for breakfast quite as often. Now that I can call Miho, I'll check in that way every morning. But I won't be here in person as much.
All three of us pause, taking in the significance of Aspen's words. With only a couple exceptions, she's been here for breakfast almost every day that I've been in Wellington. It's never crossed my mind that she might stop doing that at some point.
You'll be missed, of course, but that's quite exciting to hear. I can't wait to be able to put a copy of your novel on the library's shelves.
Please, that's still a long, long way off. Picturing that has been a motivator for myself as well, though.
Will we still see you again?
Of course! I'm not dead, you know. Just busy.
Right.
I asked Regina if I might be able to reduce my hours at the Bell House some, too. She wasn't thrilled, but she understood.
Dang it. Now how will I get free coffee?
You'll just have to pay like everyone else, I'm afraid. Or come by when I'm working. I'll still be there just as many days, but not for such long shifts.
Will you be coming to the library to write?
Occasionally, I'm sure. But it's easy to get distracted when I'm here. At home, I can just turn off my internet and get to work.
That's based, incredibly based.
That's what I tell myself I'll be doing, at least. Unfortunately, I do need to run for now. Since I overslept, I had to ask Lena to open without me. I have to get there before she burns the whole place down.
No wonder you were in such a rush.
Indeed. There's only so much time in the day, after all. But I wanted to say all this in person, since it may be a while before we see each other again.
I mean, I guess that takes Aspen out of the route so much, but... Aspen carefully returns the letter to the envelope, and then she tosses it into her bag as she stands up.
Thank you for breakfast. It was lovely, as always.
You're most welcome. I hope you'll be able to join us again soon.
Bye, Aspen. Good luck.
Thank you. See you two later.
I wave goodbye until Aspen's out of the library, with the door shut behind her. When I turn back to face Juliet, she's staring ponderously in the same direction.
You think she'll be okay?
I'm surprised she's doing as well as she is, all things considered. I had worried that receiving a rejection, which was nearly inevitable, would break her spirit. But it seems to have done the opposite.
Yeah.
Even though Aspen talks about how important her writing is to her all the time, it's something that I've always taken for granted about her. Just like how Juliet never leaves her without her parasol, Aspen always has a pen and notebook with her. At some point I got so used to seeing it that I stopped really noticing. Now though, our whole routine will be different. Even though I know it's not a big deal, and that I'll still see her every day, at least in video call, it feels like the last part of my former friendship with Aspen is gone. Just another reminder of that everything changes, whether I want it to or not. Sitting there in silence with Juliet, I can't help but think about her own sadness yesterday morning. Aspen isn't the only one who needs to be worried. Aspen isn't the only one who needs to be worried about.
Are you feeling any better today?
Even if she doesn't want to give me the details, I figured it's safe to ask. Sure enough, she smiles at me.
I am, thank you. I'm sorry for leaving the way I did.
You fucking lied to me, Juliet.
It's okay. I understand. You didn't hurt my feelings or anything, but I could tell you were hiding something. You don't have to tell me what it was, though.
She nods, looking at me intently, like she's searching for something. After a couple seconds, I have to look away, unable to maintain eye contact for much longer.
Miho, could I ask you to keep a secret? From everyone, but especially from Aspen.
Oh shit. Lore?
Yeah.
As I say that, I can feel my throat tightening. What could she possibly want to tell me, and only me? Biting her lip, Juliet thinks about if she really wants to say whatever it is. Finally, she looks away from me and gazes out the window, where the blinds cover most of the light.
I might be leaving soon.
Oh shit.
Oh, where are you going?
To the underworld, most likely. But I don't think I'd be coming back.
Oh shit.
Oh.
That's all I can say. Oh. It's one of the last things I would have expected from her. The idea of Juliet not being here is the idea of Juliet not being here is as inconceivable as the sky not being here.
As I said, it's only a possibility right now. Hardly a commitment or a guarantee. It's simply something I've been contemplating.
Once the initial shock is worn off, I fly to my feet, smacking the table as I lean forward.
What about Aspen, though? What about the library? What about... everything?
What about me? I want to ask, but I don't.
Those are questions I've been pondering too. Someone else could take over the library in my stead. Most of the books and other items could remain here. Or perhaps this place could be reborn as something other than a library. It would be the decision of whoever came after me. As for Aspen, I'm sure she'd be sad at first, but she has her own life, and other things to fill it with. Her writing, her friends, her work. Aspen's strong, as we've seen.
Why don't you want me to tell her?
My voice comes out as just a whisper.
I'll tell her when the time is right. There's no need to have it weighing on her mind when it may not even come to pass.
I slump back in my seat, staring at the ground. I still can't fully believe what I'm hearing. And yet, how could I not understand?
And as for you, Miho,
Slowly I look back up, meeting her gaze, only for her to glance away immediately.
I'm sorry. I'd stay in touch, of course. With you and with Aspen. Phones work in the underworld nowadays.
Though she smiles as she says that, both know it's a small consolation. She drops in almost immediately.
I'm sorry.
To my own surprise, I manage to shake my head.
No, don't be sorry. I get it. I mean, I don't get it, but I do. What it's like to have to leave or be somewhere else. I know that feeling.
Gently, Juliet reaches across the table, the tips of her fingers barely touching my hand.
You'll always have a home here. With or without me. The library is yours if you want it.
I shake my head again. I know I don't want that. This library only exists because of Juliet. It's only home because of Juliet. Without her, it's just a building, just 4 walls and a roof. It feels like those walls are closing in. I take a deep breath, pushing down the rising feeling inside me.
You said your mind's not made up, right?
Yes. I have my reasons for leaving, but I have reasons to stay as well.
Okay. That just means I have to find a way to make you want to stay.
Oh, Miho. If I think of this as a task, as a problem to be solved, then it's easier. Can't act like it's already too late and let myself get overwhelmed with bad feelings. Juliet's jaw drops like always. But like always, she quickly regains her composure. I can't help but notice the way she struggles to find words at first.
I couldn't ask that for you. Besides, you and Aspen are already 2 of those reasons. The biggest 2, in fact.
What about the opposite? The ones that make you want to leave?
Those are... more complicated.
Juliet, stop hiding shit.
I'm sorry, Miho. I know how this must all come across to you. It's difficult for me to explain when I'm still sorting out my own feelings, though. I promise I'll tell you when I can.
We look across the table at each other. It's uncomfortable making eye contact like this, and a big part of me wants to look away, but I also can feel there's something different about this woman. Like I'm really seeing Juliet. I can tell that she's being as honest with me as she can, maybe for the first time ever. I can tell this isn't easy for her either. Finally I nod, staring at our linked hands. I really do understand.
I won't tell Aspen, like you asked.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean I won't try my best to make you want to stay either. Can you tell me one thing, though?
She hesitates, tensing up. I'll just ask.
Does it have anything to do with the other vampire who came here a few days ago?
Her shoulders relax and her lips curve just barely upwards.
I should have known you saw him.
Sorry. I wasn't trying to. He flew right past my window, though.
It's fine. It's not a secret. That was Ezekiel, a vampire much older and wiser than I. Prefers to keep his own company, which is why you haven't met him. Very few people have. To answer your question, somewhat. We first met in the underworld, but he also came to the overworld before I did. When I first arrived here, he was the one who offered me guidance and advice. He even helped me get here in the first place. Now, many years later, he too is preparing to return home. For a long, well-deserved rest. When I heard of his intentions, it planted the seeds of that in my mind. Or rather, helped it take root. It had already been on my mind.
I see.
It makes sense that she'd know other vampires, even if I never see them myself. I wonder what she must be like. What he must be like for Juliet to call him wise. Juliet leaned back in her chair, stretching her hand with a sigh.
Thank you for hearing me out. Will you be okay, Miho?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just surprised is all.
I know. I thought you would be, but I didn't want to hide it from you any longer.
Thanks. I'm glad you told me. It makes the other stuff make sense too.
The quiet sadness when she looked around, the way she talked about the library. In her heart, she already said goodbye, hasn't she? We both stand up, ready to go our separate ways. Although I feel shaken by our conversation, I'm also relieved to understand her a little more. It's better than just wondering. With one final smile, Juliet pacified me.
Good night, Miho.
Night.
I slowly make my way to the front desk and sit down, getting started on autopilot. Making Juliet want to stay will be hard, especially my own. And is it even fair for me to try? She never pressured me to stay here, she just gave me reasons to want to. I think that's the important part. They have to be her reasons, not mine. Trying is all I can do. If it's not enough, then it's not enough. Either way, there's one thing I know for sure. I can make every minute that I can spend with her count. Well, shit. We've already seen these scenes. Hanging out with Lena, getting her man. Hold on, just had an idea. Yeah. Okay, the baby squad. I've been here before, but let's do something else. The library, I guess.
Right here at the library. It's where I can relax, have a meal, or take a nap. Being out in the city is fun, but nothing beats being at home.
That does sound really nice. I think it's hard to feel like you belong somewhere until you find a special place for yourself.
After writing down all my answers, Shello puts down her pen.
Maybe that's the problem. No matter what, it's going to be hard for us to write if we don't see anything for ourselves. Thanks for answering all my questions. We're going to be here all week, so we'll probably come back with more.
Anytime. Good luck with your project.
And the baby squad continues. And then there's Tommy again. With Scurby. Scurby's still with us. Okay, here we go. Here's a new... we got new stuff. I really... What was I gonna say? Brain break. Anyway. Later that evening, sitting up in my bedroom, I take a spot on the windowsill again and look out.
I wonder if those kids found something to write about.
We get students visiting the library all the time, but I've never met any others who came from so far away, like Cello and her friends. Wonder what it must be like to go on a big adventure like that with people you care about. I bet it would be like more. I bet it would make traveling more fun to have someone to talk to. It'd be nice if I was able to go do. If it would be nice if I. It'd be nice if I was able to do that. I like being here in Welly, but I know that someday I'll have the urge to journey again and see more of the world. I'd love to show Juliet some of the places I've been. She's helped me make Wellington my home, so I'd like to show her where I came from, what made me who I am. That's part of why I have such mixed feelings about her, about what she told me yesterday. Even if she did go back to the underworld, it isn't like I'd never be able to see her again. It would just be a lot less often. We've seen each other a little bit today, but haven't really talked much since breakfast. I like to spend some time with her though, especially if I may not have many more chances to do that. I slip in my shoes and head down to her study, where there's a flicker of lamplight from under the door. I knock 3 times, just like she always does.
Come in.
Let's go, hanging out with her girl. I open the door to find her at her desk, a pen in her hand. Of course she smiles when she sees me.
Good evening, Miho. What brings you here?
Not much. I just wanted to come see you. Are you busy?
Not at all. Would you like to sit?
Yeah, sure.
She sets her pen aside and puts some papers into her drawer as I sit down across from her. They probably come from one of her research projects. In my head, that's the main thing she uses this room for.
Would you like some tea?
Nah, I'm good. Thanks.
She prepares a cup for herself as we sit there quietly. I realize I don't actually have a plan for how to hang out together. It feels easier to talk to Aspen a lot of the time, mostly because she likes to tease me or has things to complain about. When I'm with Juliet, we talk less, which I don't mind myself. It's not that I don't like talking with her, of course, but more like I don't it's more that I don't always have something to say. Aspen has her writing in the Bell House, whereas Juliet just has the library in the past. A scratching noise in the corner gets my attention, and I look over to see a couple of bats hanging from one of the rafters. Juliet follows my eyes, gazing fondly at the creatures.
Jasper and Fiddlesticks found it a little cold for their liking, so they've been warming themselves inside for a while.
One of them's called Fiddlesticks. Oh, I love it. Mentally, I thank the bats for giving us something to chat about.
How'd you come up with their names?
I call them after characters from books or acquaintances I once knew for the most part. The names are more for me than for them.
Do they answer to them?
Oftentimes, yes. Although I'm sure it's also a convenience for my sake.
Makes sense. Words are hard when you're just an animal. Back with my person, I couldn't understand anything they said to me. Just the way they said it. It took a long time as a Gumiho before I learned enough words to understand. Before that, they were just sounds I'd memorized.
I imagine it's like that for Fiddlesticks and the others. Just sounds that they can recognize. That's all language really is, though.
That's deep. One of the bats flaps its wings, adjusting itself but remaining hooked to the ceiling.
Do you ever talk to them as a bat?
No, though I'm sure they can sense that part of me. I imagine it's why they chose the library as their roost. Cosette used to call them pets. They've always been wild. Still, she was the one who first began naming them.
Whoa! They've been coming here for that long?
Not the same bats, mind you. The ones Cosette knew are long gone. Jasper, Fiddlesticks, and the others are from many generations later. I'm glad that somehow they had knowledge of this place passed down to them.
Just like the people.
Yes, just like them.
History, generations, family. It's never really dawned on me how Juliet's built her entire life around these ideas. Hearing about her research for people who was one thing, but doesn't stop there. Even the bats have a legacy, and Juliet's been there for all of it. When I think about it that way, I feel like I can start to understand her reasons for wanting to leave, how much there is for her to miss. But also, her words give me an idea. I may struggle with saying things sometimes, but maybe we don't have to use words to have fun.
Hey, do you want to go somewhere?
I don't mind, but what did you have in mind?
I was thinking maybe we could go for a walk. Since we're not always awake at the same time like this, I wanted to spend some time with you.
Aww. Juliet blinked several times, something I've seen Aspen do when she's surprised, before settling to her usual calm warmth.
I'd like that very much. But isn't it late for you?
It's fine. I'm not that tired. Besides, you're always staying up to talk with me, so it's only fair.
I see. I certainly can't say no to that. Give me just a moment to get ready, and I'll meet you outside.
Okay.
I go downstairs to wait, leaning against the front porch. I may not be able to show her the places I want to, but I can show her one of my favorite things instead. Juliet joins me after a minute, and I lead us off.
It's been a while since we've gone on a walk like this, hasn't it?
Yeah. When we delivered some papers, right? I just started staying at the library last time.
And now here you are, leading the way. Are we going to Mount Victoria by chance?
Yup. Is that okay?
Of course. It's been quite some time since I've been there either.
Was the last time when you came to my den?
Indeed it was. You've gone back a few times though, correct?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite spots.
I leave out the part about going back to my den in particular, since it falls silver.
Actually, there were these kids who came into the library today. One of them asked me some questions like what my favorite place in Wellington is. They're doing a school project, so they'll probably come back again.
That's lovely. You've become a Wellington expert.
I don't know about that. I told them you and Aspen would probably be more helpful. They came all the way from another country.
Oh, how nice. I'd be happy to assist if they do return.
Cool! I'm sure they'd like that.
Streetlights illuminate the way for us, although neither of us would really have trouble seeing in the dark. We don't see any other pedestrians, and the cars that pass are few and far between. We reach the mountain, and I guide us off the trail and into the brush, although I take a different direction than usual. I'm not looking for Silver this time, although I wouldn't be surprised if she's observing silently close by. After a little bit of walking, I find an area that fits what I was hoping for, open and away from the path. When I stop, Juliet looks around, understandably confused.
What is this place?
Just an open area. I've never been here before. Seeing the bats in your office gave me an idea, though.
And what might that be?
I just want to go for a walk, like I said. Except not in these forms, but our other ones. I know we just came all the way here, but you said you don't spend much time as a bat, right? I haven't been spending a whole lot of time as a fox lately either, but it's something I like to do. So, maybe...
I trail off a little nervous. Maybe I shouldn't have told Juliet. Maybe I should have told Juliet my idea before making her come all the way out here, in case she doesn't want to. To my relief, though, her face lights up the night.
I'd love to.
Okay, cool.
I can't help but grin in response, and then close my eyes, focusing on my bead and tapping into my magic. When I transformed a couple nights ago to track Silver, I felt a little stiff and unfamiliar, because it was my first time doing it in a while. Now it feels natural again. I open my fox eyes and spread my tail, looking up at Juliet, who hasn't changed yet. She regards me curiously. Now that I think about it, she's never seen me like this before. Whatever she might be thinking, though, she keeps to herself. Instead, she closes her eyes like I did, and shifts her arms to her sides. She's a bat now. Look at her, she's adorable. Her limbs shrink like mine before expanding back out into the shape of wings as she becomes a bat. She gives them a few shaky flaps, fighting to keep herself in the air. Oh, babies. It takes a few more flaps, but she gets the hang of it quickly, coasting in a circle over my head and at an even pace. Before I'm sure she's ready, once I'm sure she's ready, I turn tail and start to run. The cool night breeze rushes across my fur. Beneath my feet, the earth is soft and damp and perfect for running on. I turn my head to the side to get a glimpse of Juliet. Her eyes are focused straight ahead, and she glides through the air like a knife through butter. She follows me effortlessly as I run up and down hills and through a field. Being able to let loose and just run like this is something I've missed doing. I push myself to go even faster, challenging Juliet to keep up. With a few powerful wing strokes, she manages to stay above me, close enough that I can feel the gusts of air with each flap. For someone who hasn't done this in a while, she seems to be in pretty good shape. Since I don't have any particular destination in mind, I just lead us wherever seems greenest or most open. Above us, the stars twinkle merrily while they watch. Suddenly, from the trees in the direction we both came from, there's the sound of more flapping wings. Juliet and I both turn to see a small flock of other bats coming to join us. Unlike her, I'm pretty sure they're just regular bats, but they dash and dart around us, following along like they were supposed to meet us here. I can't tell what Juliet's thinking, but I hope she's having just as much fun as they are, and as I am. At the very least, it's something new for her. That has to count for something. I run and run until I've just about worn myself out. As my pace slows, so does Juliet, until I'm only moving at a slow trot. Juliet has to flap her wings more to stay close, turning circles like the other bats accompanying us. Finally, once I reach a flat, grassy area, I come to a halt. I transform back into a person and flop down on my back. Juliet looks up at the sky. I look up at the sky and Juliet.
Alright, I'm beat!
Juliet comes closer to the ground and changes form herself. The bats who were with us squeak and disperse, fluttering off in all different directions. Oh, goodbye to them while Juliet watches them go. Then she takes a seat on the ground beside me.
My, I haven't had a workout like that in years.
She finds herself with one hand. It's the first time I've seen her look worn out.
It's been a bit for me too. You did pretty good though. I was afraid I might leave you behind by accident.
I certainly had to push myself at times. I'm impressed by you as well. It's much more strenuous to run that far compared to flying.
Nah, I'm pretty used to it. Didn't think we'd have company though.
Nor did I. It was nice to have them join us.
Wiping the sweat from her brow, Juliet gazes up at the stars and content.
Thank you, Miho. That was quite nice.
Glad you had fun. Wasn't sure if you would or not.
It's not the kind of thing I'd have ever done by myself, I'll admit. But I'm glad you brought me out here.
Hearing Juliet's words, and more importantly, being able to see on her face how much she means. Hearing Juliet's words, and more importantly, being able to see on her face how much she means them, makes me feel good, even without many words between us. Rolling over onto my belly, I push myself up and stand.
You must be worn out. Shall we head back to the library?
Yeah, I'm ready if you are. I'll sleep good tonight, that's for sure.
Juliet laughs.
I'll start breakfast a little later in the morning then.
I reach out a hand to help her get to her feet. At first, Juliet just stares, like she's not sure what she's supposed to do. But then she grabs it, and I pull her up.
Wanna do this again sometime?
We don't have to transform, but I want to see your favorite places too.
I would love to. Yes, it's a promise.
Looking up at her, her honest, gentle smile illuminated by the moonlight. I want her to stay. I have to give her a good reason to stay. And now it's time for some time wasting. Let's go to the garden. I've got a pack of stale crackers wasting away in my pocket, so I figure I'll share my spoils with the ducks at the duck pond. I'm not picky about stale food, but I think they'll enjoy it more than me. Sure enough, the second those feathered opportunists hear the crinkle of the packaging, they already start surrounding me. As I fumble to open it, the ducks start quacking discontently and edging closer and closer to me. I urge them to be patient, but they edge closer and closer until one dares to lunge at me as if to bite me in reproach. It startles me enough to drop the unopened crackers to the ground with a shriek. They descend upon it like starving ants, but don't even open it. But I didn't even open it yet. Oh, they ripped it open and they rip it open and tear into its carcass with no problem. Okay. I don't know why anyone bothers feeding ducks anyway. They seem vicious enough to figure food out on their own. When evening rolls around again, I drift to Juliet's study once again. The door is open and I can see her sitting at her desk inside.
Knock knock.
Come in.
I take the seat across from her. I've started to think of it as my seat.
How was your day today?
It was fine. Not too much happened. Do you want to hang out again?
Come to have me make good on my promise already.
Only if you want to. It's fine if you're busy.
I'm never too busy to spend time with you.
Aww.
Great! Remember, it's your turn to pick where we go this time.
Right. Give me just a moment to prepare, and then we'll be off.
Ooh. We're coming to a stop near the ocean, just the two of us. Lights from the city shine behind us and out on the water. A handful of others glitter from faraway ships. The tides come in and out, but we stand just outside its reach. Everything is quiet, aside from the soft splashing of the water lapping at our feet. The crisp night air carries a trace of salt. Side by side, Juliet and I both gaze out at the open sea.
It's beautiful.
Juliet nods. During the day, this beach is filled with people laughing and playing or relaxing in the sun. This late, however, there are only a few others around, barely more than shadows against the sea.
So this is your favorite place?
Keeping her eyes fixed on the distant horizon, Juliet hesitates before answering.
One of them, yes. I'm not sure that I could choose one above all others. I've always loved the ocean, though. I find it calming and serene. Did you know that there are no oceans in the underworld?
Really? No, I didn't know that.
I've always wondered, how the fuck is there an ocean in this floating island? It's like most of the world floating? I'm assuming the underworld's implied to be like the parts of the earth that aren't floating. But like, why is there no ocean there then?
It's true. There are lakes and rivers, but nothing like the sea. I never even witnessed it as a human. When I heard stories, I thought that surely they were exaggerated. Imagine my surprise when I saw it for myself.
Whoa.
I think back to the first time I saw the sea, when I followed Shongen's trail all the way to its end.
I didn't even know it existed until I saw one. And when I did, I thought it was just a really big lake.
You must have been just as surprised as I was.
I got on the boat and it took me to China. Not that I knew that. I didn't even know what Korea was, or that I'd left it.
I'm sure it didn't take you long, though. You learned very fast.
Only sometimes. There's some stuff that I learned really slowly.
As do we all. As do we all.
The second time she says it, her voice is softer, almost as if she didn't mean to speak aloud. We stand together in silence for a couple minutes.
I used to come here all the time, just to stand and watch the waves. They're calming, I think.
Yeah, it makes me feel really small. Since no matter what, the ocean stays the same, you know? It doesn't care about us, or about our lives. It just is.
Juliet nods.
Precisely. I couldn't have said it better.
Did you come here by yourself?
Sometimes. Not always. Cosette loved the ocean too, of course. When she was young, she used to say that she wanted to be the captain of a ship and sail all around the world and see all there was to see.
Did she ever do it?
No. The first time she set foot on a boat, she got terribly seasick and never boarded one again. We would go to the beach often, though. This one or others. Even if she couldn't live that dream of hers, she never stopped loving the idea. After she passed away, I would return here on my own nearly every night. Sleep was impossible. But I could gain some measure of peace and rest just by watching the tide. Its constant, reliable motion was something I could hold on to. It ebbs and flows, just like life itself.
I glance up at Juliet, half expecting to see some tears in her eyes, but there aren't any. Her voice is strong and stable too, not trembling like she's going to cry. She looks down, meeting my gaze, and smiles. For a long moment, neither of us look away. It's like that moment in the library, when I felt we were seeing each other for the first time. As we look into each other's eyes, I feel my heart start to beat faster. Even as she peers back out into the water, I feel electrified. Something beginning to swirl inside me and take a shape that I'm starting to understand.
I spent so long in misery and grief that I began to forget it was possible to exist without them. Everything was a painful reminder of what I'd lost, and days that will never come again. And yet, I find that the ocean is still beautiful. Even now, it's more beautiful when beside someone special. Impossibly, unchangingly so. As you said, in the face of such vastness, our petty little lives feel so tiny and insignificant. Years of pain that may feel eternal are really only drops in such a big, big bucket. I think that's what helped me to find some measure of solace and strength to go on.
I'm glad you did.
Me too.
Up in the sky, the blinking lights of a satellite or airship are another reminder of how life goes on around us. They look just like the stars. Standing here next to Juliet, I feel the same kind of warmth that I did last night after our run together. Something from inside myself that feels good and strong and right. The trials and pains that we've been through are very different in nature, but I'm glad they both brought us to the same spot. Beside me, Juliet takes a couple steps forward, a smile back in her face.
Would you care to walk a little?
Sure.
We move slowly, following the shoreline, close enough together that I keep bumping into her. The sand makes it hard to walk straight. Juliet doesn't seem to mind though, and for some reason every time it happens I feel a little spark of excitement inside. The tide sloshes in a little bit higher, enough to sweep against our shoes, but we keep going. Shells and seaweed decorate the beach, and I take care not to step on anything that might break. We walk until we reach the far end of the beach, where a few stacked boulders and a pathway lead back into town. The boulders are worn down by the waves that sometimes reach here, and the grass path stops abruptly just before it. I notice something in the dark though, a little green sprout peeking up from the ground, beyond where the rest of the plants there grow. Juliet and I stop walking, but my heart continues to pound with a dull thud as that swirling something, that electrified feeling, makes me realize what it is. Not just realize, but admit it to myself. Naming that spark, that feeling, The reason it feels so good to stand next to her, to bump into her, to make her smile.
Hey, Juliet?
Somehow I don't feel nervous, not like Aspen was, because now that I understand, saying this to Juliet just feels right. Just a step or two ahead of me, Juliet turns around to face me. The moon shines down like a spotlight, illuminating her in the darkness. Her expression is unreadable, but I wonder if she knows. Oh shit.
I think I'm in love with you.
That's forward, okay. A small wave crests, smashing into the shore. It splashes my legs, but I don't mind. I barely notice. I consider saying more about how I remember her words that day when Aspen told me of her own feelings, or how I feel when I'm with her. But for once there's a lot I could say, but I choose not to. I've said all that I need. With Juliet, so much has always been unspoken that I'm confident she can understand me. Right now her eyes go wide, but otherwise she remains unchanged. I wait. Now that I've said that, I don't know what I hope she'll say. Thinking about myself as the kind of person who could be in love still feels weird, but also feels true. Whatever else that might include, whatever Juliet might feel about me, as a whole other issue. So is everything between us, like whether or not she'll be leaving. No matter if she stays or goes, no matter if she feels the same way or I do, none of that's important right now. Right now I'm just glad to be able to put a name to these feelings. Finally Juliet takes a step forward and places a hand on my shoulder. She's touched me a lot of times before, but this time I'm hyper aware of her presence.
Thank you for telling me, Miho. I must confess that I don't know what to say. My thoughts are all aflutter right now.
Holy shit, we have a blush. We have a blush, folks. That's a first.
It's okay. You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know.
But you deserve a response. I simply don't know how to give it at the moment. Would it be okay if we talked about this more tomorrow? I just...
For the first time ever, Juliet seems truly at a loss for words. At Cosette's grave, or when I yelled at her afterwards, or any other time something has happened, she always managed to regain her composure. But now she seems lost. Honestly, I think I prefer it that way. I reach out and place my hand on hers.
Yeah. That's fine. Really.
God, Juliet's adorable.
Thank you.
Juliet's hand lingers on my shoulder a moment longer, before sliding out from beneath mine. I miss it as soon as it's gone.
Wanna go back to the library?
She nods, seemingly relieved. We climb the small slopes up to the road and begin walking back together, side by side like before. I keep my gaze firmly fixed ahead of me, and I'm pretty sure she does the same too. Both of us keep our thoughts to ourselves. My heart turns somersaults as we go, filling me with nervous energy without an outlet. Now that I've said them, the enormity of my words and just what they mean for me have begun to sink in. Juliet's kindness and compassion, the memories we've made together, and the way she understands me in a way that only another fables can. All those things have been pointing in this direction for some time. It's just that I only figured it out now where that road was leading. When we get back to the library, we wordlessly hug each other before going our separate ways. In my bed, I lie awake and stare at the ceiling.
I'm in love.
I know what I sound like when I'm lying. I know what I sound like when I'm lying, and not how I sound. I know what I sound like when I'm lying, and it's not how I sound now. My feelings are true and real, and now they're out there. Tomorrow feels so far away, and yet I don't know what I'm waiting for. What would it mean if Juliet loves me too? What would it mean if she doesn't? I'm still figuring out what it means for me to be in love with myself. I haven't gotten to the other parts yet. I close my eyes though, thinking about her hand beneath mine and the feeling of her arms around me. I can't help but think maybe I'm hoping for more than I can admit. Sorry, just gonna leave me in suspense like that. The more of Lena and her boy. And the night time. My paws crawl around, but my paws carry me across wet leaves and mud. Fog has crept into the forest as stealthily as me. Glimpses of the sky are rare between the trees and the mist. The wild mountains and hills are hidden as well, out of sight but not mind. I run, filled by a sense of purpose. It lightens my step and pulls me in the right direction. I'm going to see someone I care about very much, and who cares about me. Somehow we found each other. My person. The path to following is engraved in my body and mind, almost essential. A warm smile, a gentle touch, a kind word. These are the things that draw me forward. I slow down as I get closer to my destination, and to the silhouette waiting for me. It's impossibly bright as I approach, my heart pounding in anticipation, like the sun has descended to greet my person too. It matches the feeling in my chest, warming my soul and fur. So bright that my person turns around, swooping low to greet me. Light is all I can see. But I don't need to see, only hear. That voice that I could never forget.
Little fox, where is your home?
I open my eyes to my darkened bedroom. My nap must have lasted a couple hours, longer than I expected it to. The moon and stars are already out. I can barely remember anything. I can barely remember what I did with the rest of my day before I took a nap. Breakfast with Juliet was quiet and we didn't talk about last night. I'm sure she'll bring it up when she's ready. With a quick check-in with Aspen on the phone, I went through work like a zombie, mindlessly making my way through my tasks. After closing up, I planned to just catch a quick snooze, but the late nights and exercise I've been getting finally caught up with me. The last few seconds of my dream replay in my mind while I lie in my bed, facing the wall. That touch, that voice. I can't say for sure whose they were. As I come to my senses, I start to notice something out of the ordinary. A sound drifting from downstairs. Music. I'm never getting over how cute Miho's pajamas are. Rolling out of bed, I go and crack my door open. Sure enough, the sound of a violin and piano wafted way up from the library. There's another sound too. Juliet talking to someone. Her words are muffled by the distance of the music, but I can tell from the soft tones that it's her. I wonder if the other vampire, Ezekiel, is here. I don't hear a sound though. I don't hear a second voice though. I draw in a shaky breath to prepare myself and then head downstairs. The music gets louder as I approach the main room, until I finally discover its source. Juliet set up an old record player on one of the library tables. A small stack of dusty records sits next to it, the sleeves all frayed around the edges. As I round the corner, the soft murmurs of Juliet's words become coherent, and I pause for a moment to listen, still out of sight.
Both of them. You and Aspen would make great friends, I'm sure. The two of you have always been such dreamers, born for worlds greater than our own. She's at the start of her own new adventure. I can't wait to see where it takes her. Whatever it takes to make those dreams come true. I know she'll find it within herself.
I start to tiptoe around the corner, curious to see if it's who it is Juliet's speaking with.
And as for Miho,
I freeze again, halfway there.
there's simply too much to say about her. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But there is one thing that I'm quite certain of.
I step around the wall to find Juliet on the other side of the room, with her back to me. She stands near Cosette's portrait, one hand on the frame, the same as she placed it on my shoulder last night.
I'm sure you would have loved her too.
Oh, God's sake, don't make me feel bad for her. Ah! Both of us remain motionless, locked in place. Did I hear her right? Did I understand her right? A few seconds later, the song that was playing comes to an end, and the sound of the record player becomes soft static as the needle scratches the empty center. It breaks the spell that bound us. Juliet turns around slowly, gracefully. Her elegance feels like such a contrast to the way I stand there awkwardly processing what I heard. She acknowledges me with a smile, but walks past me and goes to the record player. She carefully lifts the needle and turns the record over, then lowers it again. Soon the sound of music fills the air once more. Juliet approaches me, one hand outstretched towards me.
Shall we dance?
I don't know how.
Even as I say it, I reach out for her as well, placing my hands on hers.
That's okay. It's quite simple. I'll show you.
Aww. Juliet gently pulls me forward, and I reach her in just a few steps. She holds her linked hands out to the side and wraps her other arm around me. I just kind of stand there, letting her guide me. My heart feels like it's going to jump out of my chest, but I keep myself calm, focusing on the motions instead. We sway from side to side in time with the music, just turning a small circle in place. It's harder than I expected. I stumble more than once as I try to mimic what she's doing. I've never been this close to Juliet for so long before, or to any other person. I start to move more as Juliet takes tiny steps around the room, and I do my best to keep up with her, although I'm always half a beat late. Once I step on her foot by accident, I'm the one who winces.
Sorry.
It's okay.
She takes it in stride, not missing a step. The song ends and another starts, and we keep going. Little by little, I'm getting the hang of it, although I still feel clumsy and make mistakes, but I'm able to get into the flow, stepping in time with Juliet instead of just after. Just inches away from my face, Juliet looks into my eyes, and I gulp nervously but stare back, trying to focus on both her and my feet.
I've been thinking quite a lot about what you said yesterday.
Oh yeah?
My voice is barely a whisper, a croak. I can tell that I'm blushing furiously. Being with her like this, I have a feeling I already know what she's going to say, but that doesn't stop my heart from racing. Juliet nods, her forehead almost bumping against mine.
And?
She leans in and kisses me. Lesbians. Okay, give me a second. Okay. Lesbians. I know I signed up for lesbians, but like, they're so cute. The music builds to a crescendo as Juliet's lips find mine, and we both close our eyes. I surrender all thoughts and fears, aware of nothing but the feeling of our kiss and the gentle rhythm of our dance. Juliet's fingers curl tightly around my hand and I squeeze back, not needing any words to communicate. With her other arm still around me, Juliet holds me close and tight as I wrap my free arm around her toe. No, I will not! I have every right to fangirl over two lesbians. We rock and sway as I trust my body to do the thing before me. I find it easier to move in time with her. Two of us dance around the library as I let her lead and I follow, feeling warm and alive and complete. Eventually we end our kiss and we stay like this, close together, hands linked tightly. The blush in her face is still there, but I think it looks good in her. I rest my head on Juliet's shoulder and she tilts hers against mine.
And I love you too.
My heart, for God's sake. As if she even needed to say it. Juliet and I talk and dance and kiss into the night, until sleepiness manages to overwhelm my excitement and I have to go to bed. Even as my head hits the pillow, I'm looking forward to waking up tomorrow and seeing Juliet again. When I do open my eyes a few hours later, a feeling of elation hasn't left me, and gets me to bounce out of bed and get ready in a hurry. I stare at my own reflection in the mirror as I brush my teeth and wash my face. I don't look any different than usual, of course, but I half expected to. My lips tingle with the memory of Juliet's against mine and the tender look on her face. A look just meant for me. After I finish washing up, I hurry downstairs to breakfast, taking the stairs two at a time. I practically slide into the kitchen.
Good morning, Aspen!
It's not just Juliet sitting at the table, but Aspen too.
Good morn, Miho, to you.
Hello, Miho.
Although Juliet's greeting is pretty typical, there's a new warmth in her voice that makes me blush.
thought you weren't going to be coming to breakfast anymore, Aspen.
I said I wouldn't be here as frequently, not that I wouldn't be here at all. Besides, it's a special occasion. It's not every day that your two best friends start dating.
You already know?
Hold on a second. Hasn't even been a full day. Hasn't even more than a few hours.
I hope you don't mind. I spoke with Aspen yesterday, in fact.
Nah, I don't. She'd figure it out pretty fast anyway.
Actually, I was hoping I could talk with you as well, Miho. If that's alright.
Oh, sure. What is it?
Mind if we go outside?
Oh shit. I glance at Juliet, who's standing up from the table. She gives us a friendly wave towards the door.
Go on. I haven't started cooking yet, so it'll be a little while before breakfast is ready.
Okay.
I get up and head out the front door with Aspen close behind me. Two of us stand beside each other on the porch, the early morning sun just starting to shine over the hills. Late nights and early mornings. I've had plenty of both, but that's okay. I have things worth staying up for, and things worth waking up early for. Next to me, Aspen fidgets with her hair and hat while I wait for her to find her words. I seem to be doing that a lot lately too. I have an idea what the topic might be, but not what she wants to say about it. This is the first time I've been alone together since she went home.
So, Miho, you probably remember, even if I don't, that I, said some things to you last time we saw each other.
Yeah.
How could I forget? I swallow a lump in my throat trying to just listen to Aspen without getting ahead of myself.
Although the actual memories are a blur to me, I wrote a lot of my feelings down in my journal over the past couple months, including that evening after I left. It's weird, I have to say, to see all that written in my own handwriting, but not to connect to it or feel it anymore. But I can tell how much I treasured the time I spent with you. I hope that doesn't sound rude. I know you were and are a very, very important person in my life, and I'm very grateful for all the time we've spent together, both before and after that. You're still, or again, a dear friend of mine. Yesterday, Juliet told me about the two of you. She wanted to make sure I was okay with it before giving you an answer. I swear, she's selfless to a fault sometimes.
She really is.
Anyway, I told her that of course I don't mind. I'm perfectly happy with us remaining as just friends, and I couldn't be more excited for you. Both of you deserve all the joy in the world. I'd been trying to figure out how to talk to you about everything, and what I even wanted to say, so it was relief to have this reason to say it. I'm sorry for putting it off for so long.
It's okay. I wasn't sure how to bring it up either. I'm really glad though. I like being your friend and I don't want that to change, even if we had to start over.
Hold up my arms and Juliet comes forward to give me a hug. It's different from hugging Juliet, of course, but still nice. I'm also relieved to hear about Aspen. I'm also relieved to hear how Aspen feels, and that she won't be hurt by seeing Juliet and me together. It's still painful to have lost all the time we shared, but at least we're both eager to rebuild it. Aspen pats me on the back before she steps away.
Well, I certainly feel much better after saying all that. Come on, let's go join Juliet again.
Right behind ya.
Back inside, there's a sizzling sound coming from the kitchen, as well as the delicious smell of cooking meat. Aspen and I enter to find Juliet frying bacon, as well as preparing the usual dishes.
That smells so good!
It should be ready before too much longer. Go ahead and sit down, and I'll bring it to you soon.
Okay.
We hardly ever have meat, so this is a rare treat. I used to have a lot of it before moving to the library, even if I had to scrounge for it. Aspen and I take our places at the table, and soon Juliet brings all the food she prepared and sets it down. While Juliet and I both load up our plates and dig in, Juliet just nibbles on some bread and sips her tea contentedly.
You know, it's not fair that you always make us such good food, even though you can't taste it.
I don't mind. I'm perfectly satisfied seeing the two of you enjoy it.
Juliet, stop being so fucking... Stop... Stop being just the best person. You're making us all look bad by proxy.
Yeah, but you worked so hard. I guess there's no way around it though, huh?
Oh, right. You mentioned that to me as well not long ago. So is all food the same to you?
I can still taste things, but just barely. And I can appreciate the textures of different dishes too. But yes, for the most part, it's like an afterthought to flavor.
So, like drinking a flavored, sparkling water, then?
I've grown accustomed to it over the years, to the point where I can't even remember what things used to taste like. Perhaps that's a blessing in disguise.
We make short work of everything Juliet cooked, but not even leaving behind the crust of bread. After helping us clean up, Aspen departs for the Bell House, and Juliet and I are left alone at the kitchen table. I'm glad we've gotten more comfortable with silence, because I'm not totally sure what I should be saying or doing now. As different as things may be, we're still the same people. Even though I want to talk with and be with Juliet more, I haven't magically become more eloquent. It'd be nice if my magic worked like that, though. The best thing to do would probably just to tell Juliet what I'm thinking. After all, it was being open about my feelings that got me to this point in the first place. So there's no reason to stop now.
Hey, so... I have a question about something Aspen said. She said that you and I are... dating now. Is that true? I guess what I mean is, I love you, and you said you love me too, so... Now I know what dating is, but not how to do it, if that makes sense. You probably already know that, though. I just want to make sure I don't do anything wrong.
Oh, baby. Juliet stands, offering me her hand. I accept, of course, and stand up as well. She takes my other hand in hers and faces me, almost like we're dancing again.
There is no wrong way. Dating, lovers, partners, they're all just words. I'm happy to use any of them, if they feel right to you. What matters to me isn't what we call it, but what we feel. And I feel that being around you reminds me what it's like to exist, and to celebrate being alive, and to find joy in everyday moments. That every second we spend together is more special because you're with me. When I say that I love you, I mean that I love you, Miho. Not just who you could be or who we could be, but who you are now. So please don't feel that you have to change for me or behave a certain way. Just being yourself is all that I could ask for.
My face feels so hot that I could fry this slice of bacon on it. I'm not embarrassed, but Juliet saying all those things about me is so wonderfully new and exciting that my body doesn't know how else to respond. I like hearing them though, and it helps with me at ease.
Okay. I can do that.
God, these two are so precious. Still keeping my hands in hers, Juliet leans forward and kisses me, making my lips tingle again. I'm pretty sure I could get used to this. But can it last? That question permeates everything for me. For the past couple days, it feels like we've danced around the tension, the unspoken question. Is what we have, whatever word we would use to describe it, enough to make Juliet want to stay here? I shouldn't expect one night to make up her mind, and I'm sure she'll tell me when she's ready. If the answer is no, though, if I do get used to this and to being with Juliet, then will there ever be a time when I'm ready? Once again, I force those thoughts away. The nature of our relationship has changed, but my goal hasn't. No matter what's coming in the future, I want to enjoy those moments with Juliet now. I hope there'll be enough for her too. With that, I shall end off the stream for today. Thanks for coming. I'm streaming Tuesday. I'm not sure for how long. I'll just see how long I can keep it up for. But for now, I'm heading off. Night. Bye.